Okay, we are back with the new Heroes banner for July. This is the final new Heroes banner before Choose Your Legends, so I'm very excited to see who this is. And honestly, there's a ton of options. It could finally be Engage, but every time I say that, it just feels like more copium, so who knows about that. I've also heard like stuff like Thrasha or Radiant Dawn, maybe again, that's kind of super copium as well. But let's just jump in and see what we actually get this time. Oh, it's Engage! We're finally getting Engage! Holy shit, it's Engage! Diamant, Diamant is in the game. Diamant is finally in Fae after so long of waiting. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Let's see what he can do. He is another God Sword, probably like our 10th God Sword this year, but I don't care because it's Diamant. Oh, okay, he's doing a double pager here. And of course he has attack, defense, finish 4. Are you kidding me? I've been waiting for this skill for so long to give to Brave Dimitri, and of course it's on Diamant, the one unit I don't want to kill. This is a very, very long weapon, and there's a ton of effects here to go over. So let's just start from the top. So first of all, we have Slaying, and then we have if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, we get +5 to all stats, pretty basic. But then we get deals damage equal to 25% of unit's defense. So that's 25% true damage based off of Diamant's defense, and we also get 25% flat damage reduction based off his defense as well, which is really, really strong. Right? We've seen this on Brave Dimitri. It's very powerful. Brave Dimitri only gets 20%, so Diamant's actually getting 5% more for both his true damage and his flat damage reduction, so that's already really good. It does not work with AoEs, which kind of sucks, but it also makes sense. And then we have actually damage reduction piercing, so anything that is non-special, right? Like you're not gonna get through like godlike reflexes or flat damage reduction, but all your base like close call or like dragon wall, he just ignores them. That's kind of insane, right? It doesn't even require a special. It's just, he just neutralizes them. So he's pretty much just going to hit you really hard all the time. But then after that, we have neutralizes effects that guarantees units and foes follow-up attacks. So this is the one effect I am not a big fan of in his kit. Essentially what this means is that he is going to not be able to double and the foe's not going to be able to double. Typically, this is not a good effect in my opinion. Not in today's meta at least, just because NFU is so prevalent, right? And a fast unit with NFU is going to be able to get right through this. So not my favorite effect. We've seen this on like Fallen Rhea and some other Rheas, and typically it does not work out the best in my opinion. But maybe it will be okay. Then we have one of the most weird and wacky effects in the entire game, and Diamant actually increases the amount of speed you need for a foe to make a follow-up attack by 20 during combat. So you must have 25 or more speed to double Diamant. Now this is where it gets a bit more interesting, right? Because unlike someone like Rhea, who can just not make a follow-up attack, but is weak to NFU, Diamant is a little bit less weak to NFU because the foe does have to have 25 more speed than him. Now we haven't seen the stat line, so we don't know exactly how fast he is, so we don't know how big of a deal that would be, right? Because if he has like 15 speed, then it doesn't make much of a difference if they need 25 speed, right? But if he has like middling speed, then this could actually help him like stop people from doubling him. So that's interesting, but I'm not exactly sold on it quite yet, to be honest, because units get really, really fast nowadays. So especially if you are investing in a Diamant speed, I can see this effect not being as powerful as it may seem, but if he does have decent speed, then maybe it actually works out. Now, if that wasn't enough, he still has more effects. At start of combat, if his HP is greater than or equal to 25%, and he initiates combat, he gets special cooldown cap -1 before the unit's first attack. So this is kind of like the effect that Bramimon has, right? But it doesn't require the foe to have Slaying, or it's also similar to like Duo Ikes, but it's only -1 special cooldown. It's also on Tiki. So this is pretty interesting because he does have Slayings. What that means essentially is that he could easily pre-charge something like a 2 cooldown special before he attacks. And because he ignores normal damage reduction, he's gonna hit really hard with that. What you can also do though is you can also have like Bonfire, right? And then you hit once and try to get the Bonfire off like on a counter attack. Though him not being able to double kind of hinders that to an extent, right? And then after that we have another effect. If his HP is greater than or equal to 25% and the foe initiates combat. So this is like the opposite, right? The first one is if he initiates combat. This one's if the foe initiates combat. He gets to neutralize guard. So he gets anti-guard. So this means that he's going to be very good at popping those big specials off, right? If they attack into him, he's going to be able to get those big bonfires off and blow somebody up and do a ton of damage. And then lastly, the final effect is if he does damage with a special during combat, even if it does 0 damage, he is going to heal for 10 HP. Okay, so that is his preference weapon. Let's jump down to attack defense finish 4. Now, there's not much to say here. It's just another finish skill, but it is an attack defense variant that I've been waiting for a very long time. I think this is one of the best A skills you can give to someone like Brave Dimitri or even like Duo Asker. I think this is just a really strong skill, so I'm glad to see it added to the game. I am very sad it's on Diamant though, because that is the one unit I do not want to kill, right? He's my favorite character from Engage, but you know, that's just typically how IS does it. They pick my favorites to give the best skills to. Okay, so then we also have Attack Speed Bulwark 3 and Time Pulse 4. This makes complete sense, right? He's not going to probably be a very fast unit, so you don't really want to run like speed-based damage reduction. You could run something like Guard 4 or something like that to give him some extra damage reduction, right? But Bulwark will also give him healing and also kind of act as a frontliner. And the Time Pulse will make it very easy for him to proc something like Gale Force and just blow things up, right? So it makes complete sense. Okay, so with that said, we can kind of get an idea of what Diamant wants to do. So let's talk about the roles he wants to play, and it's very obvious this is an Omni tank. This is what Diamant wants to do. He wants to go in there, he wants to kill things, he wants to destroy things. Now, how well does he do at this role? And I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think there's any way to particularly be able to tell just how good Diamant is without actually playing him ourselves. And the reason for that is the conditions are so different than any other unit in the game right now. Having that ability to turn off guaranteed follow-up attacks on both sides, and having that increased speed condition is just way too radical to see. So what we're really going to need to see is we're going to need to actually test Diamant ourselves, see how it actually works out, also see how bulky he really is and how well he can take hits. But I do have some hope that he can be pretty good. After all, like, base Rhea is a pretty solid Omni tank even though she is slow. So I think there is a chance Diamant can be very strong. We're just going to have to do some really good testing to find out. Other than that, I don't think there's much more you can really do with Diamant. I think he's just built to tank. He's not going to be a really great Gale Forcer because he can't really double, and you're not going to really be able to kill things without your special. So I think that's a bit iffy as well. Now, when it comes to game modes, I think the best game mode you're probably going to see him in is Eitr offense. He's probably going to just want to take up that Omni tank role and do some damage. Maybe you can get him on defense as like a frontline unit, but typically that role is taken up by other units like Medius or someone else. When it comes to Summoner Duels, I'm a bit questionable on this unit because he doesn't really offer any type of support, right? And so when you want him to fill that role of like a frontline unit or like even like a raid boss or something like that, I'm not sure how well he'll actually perform in that role, because unlike a unit like Asker, who offers like that frontline role but also support, Diamant doesn't actually have that, right? He doesn't have any type of support. So he kind of has to like be the star of the show and actually be able to do a lot for him to get that role on the team, right? But overall, I'm very excited to see Diamant finally in the game. Oh my gosh, it's an Engage banner. I'm so hyped. Okay, who's next? Oh, it's Citrinne! Yes! I love Citrinne. Citrinne's one of my favorite characters as well. We got a Brodium banner. Let's go. Let's check this out. Oh my god, we have another unit with Special Spiral 4, and she's in the base pool. Unlike Rearmed Ophelia, who only comes around once in a while, you could just pick up a Citrinne randomly and get Special Spiral 4. That's insanely good. We also have Attack Res Oath Force, that's some good fodder as well. But let's check out her preference weapon, because that's going to determine how good she really is. Okay, so we have Tumble Lectures. This has Slaying. At the beginning of turn 1, you're going to get Special Cooldown Count -2. So this is like Quicken Pulse Plus, right? We've seen this on a few characters like Carla. Then we have, if her HP is greater than 25%, she is going to give herself a visible bonus that gives her a guaranteed follow-up attack, which is cool. We've seen that before on some other units as well, so it's not the biggest deal. But now this is where it just goes like completely insane. I can't believe they're doing this. After start of turn effects, so like after like, you know, your infantry pulses go off, all your like times pulse, all that kind of effects, right? All your visible bonuses go off. She is going to grant any bonus she has to all of her allies within 2 spaces for 1 turn. Now this does exclude 1 extra space of movement and Pathfinder. That's not the biggest deal in my opinion, because typically she's not going to really have the easiest way to get 1 extra space of movement as like a mage, right? And she's also not going to have an easy way to get Pathfinder, because you're essentially going to have to pop like Duo Dagger's duo skill to give her that. But everything else she can just give to allies, and that's absolutely insane. It includes stat bonuses, right? So she can have like +6 to all stats, and then she gives all allies within 2 spaces +6 to all stats. If she has like triangle attack, now the allies within 2 spaces have triangle attack. If she has formation buff, they get formation buff, right? If she has whatever, she can give it to other people. And this is really, really, really cool. I like this a lot. Now, how powerful is this going to be? That's the interesting question, right? Because how often can you give an effect to her that other allies can't get just naturally, right? It's a bit questionable. I'm not completely sure, right? Because like, when you think about like Bridal Catria, sometimes what will happen is you'll be out of formation and Catria will hit maybe Citrinne, but she won't hit the rest of the team because like maybe she's like not positioned correctly. Well, Citrinne can now give it to them as well. So I think that's really, really cool. I'm not exactly sure how powerful this is. I think the effect is very powerful, but I'm not sure how well it can be used, right? How well it can be utilized. So I'm going to be interested to see that. It also means that she could give out effects that only infantry units can typically get to other units, right? So let's say she gets hit with like infantry speed tactic and she gets no follow-up. She could then give that no follow-up to cavalry or flyer units or even armor units, right? Which is really, really good. So I think that she has a lot of potential to be really an interesting support unit. And I love that how it fits her like personality very thematically, right? Citrinne's a very giving person. She's always trying to hand people out money and stuff and buy them stuff. So like this weapon just fits perfectly for her. Now, she also has some other effects to help her with her like stats. So she gets +5 to all stats during combat. And she gets 15% true damage based off her resistance, including with AoEs. So overall, I think Citrinne is a very, very interesting unit. And when it comes to roles, obviously there are 2 roles she wants to play. She wants to play the Mage Nuke, and she also wants to play the support unit. Now, when it comes to nuking, I think Citrinne's going to be decent, right? It does seem to be a slower mage, as she does have that guaranteed follow-up attack built into her weapon, right? So I think that means that she's going to be a bit slower, which typically isn't the best for nukes. But I don't think it's like a death sentence by any means. And then that 50% true damage is nice as well, right? It's going to help her deal some big damage. I think the main thing, though, for Citrinne absolutely is going to be her support. That support effect has like absolutely ridiculous potential. It could just completely break the game if other units come out with insane bonuses, right? Or if people just figure out ways to get that like bonus on other people, right? Like if you could get like dominance on her and then she can give it to the entire team, that would be nuts, right? So I think there's a lot of potential for Citrinne to become like one of the best supports in the entire game. But there's a lot of factors we're gonna have to determine to see if that can actually happen. And I think it comes down to a lot of the new skills coming out in the future, right? Like let's say if we get like attack tactic 4 in the future and it gives out dominance, or if it gives out like treachery or something like that, and then she can give it to everybody else, I think that could be insane. So we'll have to see how well that turns out. Now, when it comes to game modes, what can Citrinne really shine in my opinion? I think there's one game mode I can think of, and that is Eitr raids, right? I think in Eitr raids offense and defense, she can be very powerful because she can give out those really cool effects to everybody on offense. So once again, you can give her like, you can hand out no follow-up to people who shouldn't have no follow-up. You can hand out like stats to everybody. And then on defense, I think that's the same as well, right? Being able to sit there and just spread your stats everywhere, so you don't really have to worry about like Catria's positioning as much anymore on defense. Because whenever you run a Catria wall, Catria always kind of wants to be in the center so that she can make sure she gives everybody formation and triangle attack. But with Citrinne, you don't have to worry about that because Citrinne can actually give it to other people as well. And because she's going to be a more slow mage, I assume she's going to have good resistance, which means she'll be more difficult to false start than like Catria will be. So I think that Citrinne has a lot of potential to be an very interesting unit. So far, this banner is really showing up and really creating some unique effects and actually making use of some new design space. So I'm very, very happy so far. Let's see who the demote is. Who is it? Who's the demote? Wait, what? No demote? Rearmed hero instead of a demote? Oh, this has to be Eitr, right? No, it's Alcryst! What the fuck? Oh my god, wait, I thought for sure it would be Eitr. Like, I thought for sure we were gonna get the Arcane Beast weapon here, because it already got teased, but we're actually getting another Arcane Bow. That's kind of nuts. Like, how do I feel? Like, I wish it was an Arcane Dagger instead. I wish it was, like, rearmed Yunaka, but I'll take rearmed Alcryst, right? That's cool. Oh my gosh. I see all kinds of new stuff here. Holy crap. Okay, so we have Arcane Dark Bow, and what this eventually has is Slaying, as effective against flying foes. He gets attack and speed +6 during combat. He neutralizes his own penalties. He also gets offensive no follow-up. And then if he initiates combat, he gets like a desperation effect. So he can essentially attack twice in a row before the foe can counterattack. Now, overall, this is a really interesting rearmed weapon, right? It has all the things you kind of want, right? You get the stats, you get offensive no follow-up, and you even get a desperation effect, which can be very powerful. I think the one bad thing actually is neutralizing his own penalties. That used to be one of the best effects in the entire game, but in the current meta, Legendary Robin is so dominant. Neutralizing your own penalties is actually like a bad effect now. You actually don't want that. So I think that's the one downside of this weapon. The other thing possibly is like no anti-guard. I think that would have been really nice to have in a rearmed bow, but this is a very good rearmed bow, and I think it does give a really nice option outside of Tana's rearmed bow as well. So I think that's really cool. And he's infantry, and I've been talking about this a lot. Infantry rearmed are just so extremely valuable because you can duplicate so much valuable fodder. Speaking of fodder, let's go down to his new A skill, Flash Sparrow. If unit initiates combat, grants attack and speed +7 to unit during combat, and also if unit speed is greater than foe speed -5, grants special cooldown charge +1 to unit per attack during combat. Oh, I have been waiting for this so long. I've actually been thinking about this for a long time, how we haven't gotten a new like flashing blade or like heavy blade in a long time. And because those skills are very outdated, to be honest, right? Not getting any stats on them, and like it's just not very good, to be honest, nowadays. So now we actually have a new version. It gives attack and speed, and it makes that speed condition so much easier to hit, right? It's now foe speed -5, so like it's just way easier to hit. So that's very, very good. This is a very powerful skill. I love it, and hopefully, this is inheritable to other units other than infantry. That's what I'm really hoping. I'm scared that it's not though. I'm scared it's gonna be like requires Flashing Blade 3, which wouldn't be surprising. But I just hope that's not the case, because it makes no sense that flyers and cavs can't use Flashing Blade, right? It just is stupid. I'm hoping that has a better inheritance restriction, but honestly, that's a very good skill. And the fact that it's on a rearmed hero means that we can duplicate it very easily. So good. So far, so very, very good. Now, let's go down to the B skill, and I assume this is a preference B skill, just because the name is Get Behind Me, which is very much like an Alcryst kind of thing to say. So if unit initiates combat or within 2 spaces of an ally, inflicts speed defense -5 on the foe, you get a penalty on foe's defense equals 30% of foe's defense at start of combat. Ooh, okay. And neutralize effects that inflict special cooldown charge -X on unit during combat. Okay, there it is. This is actually a very good preference B skill, right? Because the thing is with archers, if you can like reliably hit Deadeye, you don't need Special Spiral 4, right? So being able to get anti-guard in your B skill, getting more stats, and then also getting more damage, right? Being able to inflict a penalty on the foe's defense equal 30% is essentially having like a permanent like moonbow like all the time. So that's really powerful. I think this is a great B skill. It's going to really help Alcryst out. And the combination of Flash Sparrow plus anti-guard is going to allow him to hit Deadeyes very reliably and just blow things up. And then lastly is Defense Red Smoke at 3. Not the biggest deal, but some nice fodder as well. Okay, let's talk about the roles for Alcryst, and I think it's kind of obvious, right? This is a nuke, a complete and utter nuke. He is going to be able to go in, do some big damage, really proc those Deadeyes and just destroy things, because having permanent Moonbow is really strong, especially when you combine it with Deadeye, right? Which like doubles your damage. So I think that Alcryst is going to be a fantastic archer. That preference B skill is really going to carry him and make him very unique. When it comes to game modes, I think Alcryst can just show up in a ton of different game modes, right? Either Raid's defense is probably going to be a great option for him. I can even see him being used in some riddles as a nuke as well, because he does have some like really powerful effects in there. I don't know how good he's going to be overall in the nuking like tier list, but at least S, maybe S+. We don't know. We'll have to find out. I'm not sure if he's better than Alm. I don't think so, but he's probably pretty close actually. It's probably not too far off. Okay, let's move on to the final hero of the banner. I don't think we're getting a demo here. Okay, there's Eitr. Are we getting 2 rearmed weapons on the same banner? This is insane. This is insane. We're getting 2 rearmed heroes on the same banner. I can't even explain how much value that is. That is absolutely ridiculous value. This might be one of the better banners of the entire year, and it's not me just flexing because it's engaged, right? Now, the downside, of course, of having Eitr here is that it's not another engaged character, so we are down 1 engaged character. Okay, so we've already seen Arcane Nihility in the game, right? She's up there in the Tempest Trial right now. It's the current boss. What this essentially does is you get Slaying, and then if your HP is greater than or equal to 25%, you get plus $5 stats. Then you get like a Binding Necklace effect that Freya has, where essentially if the foe has visible bonuses, you get to steal those bonuses, right? And then you get them for yourself, so it's pretty strong. You also get 15% true damage based off your speed, and then if her speed is greater than the foe speed, you get full no follow-up, so that's also very good, especially because she is a cavalry unit, right? The cool thing though is they seem to have upgraded the Cavalry Beast transformation effect. Before it was some stats and like an impact effect, but now it's more of like a clash effect where like depending on how many spaces you move, you inflict attack and defense -X on the foe, right? And it's as many spaces +3. So you get to inflict up to attack and defense -6 on the foe, which is really good. But the big thing is they actually changed the impact effect where it like does a follow-up denial instead to damage reduction. So if you move at least 2 spaces, you'll get 30% damage reduction against the foe's first attack as well. So that's really powerful. I think this is actually a very solid arcane weapon. Now the question is like, who is this inheritable to? If I had to bet like $1,000, I would 100% bet this is only inheritable to cavalry beast units, right? I highly doubt they're going to give this to all the beast units. I just don't see that happening. But maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Okay, her preference A skill, Power of Nihility. Essentially what this does is if you are almost solo, you can have 1 person adjacent to you. You're going to get +9 to all stats, which is really solid. You get special acceleration, which is great. And then also if you deal damage with your special, you get to restore X% of your max HP. So that's a percentage of your HP, and the X is based off your max special cooldown count times 20 plus 10. So for example, let's say you have Eitr, right? That is a 4 cooldown special for her because she has Slaying. So it'd be 4 times 20 plus 10, so that's 90% of her max HP. That is insane. That's absolutely stupidly powerful, right? Typically, you're not going to run Eitr probably on her, but you could run something like Luna very easily, and that would be like a 2 cooldown special for her. So that would be like 2 times 20 plus 10, right? So you get 50% of your max HP just with Luna. And she's going to be able to ramp right into that. So that's very, very strong. It's going to make her really difficult to kill. I'm a bit scared. The other thing, of course, is that she could be a really good Gale Forcer with this as well, but you won't get the HP healing, which is good as well, though, because you really don't want that in a Gale Force unit. Okay, so we have Beast Sense 4, and what this essentially does is it removes the transformation effect of the Beast. You get inflict speed and defense -4 on the foe, and then if you have some kind of like speed comparison, you essentially get like Phantom Speed like 2, right? You get +7, but then you get speed-based damage reduction. So this is absolutely awesome. I am so happy with this. This is essentially like the idea of getting like Close Call 4, right? But instead of having like the extra effect of like moving back or knocking the opponent back or whatever, you get to remove the condition of Beast Transformation. Now the other difference, of course, is that Close Call 4 does give you 50% damage reduction instead of 40, so it's a 10% minus. But I think that's worth it considering you get to remove the Beast Transformation completely. This is a very, very, very good skill. I love this. I think this is a big upgrade over the other beast skills we've gotten, and this is going to be massive on a ton of units. Now the question is, who can inherit? At the very least, we know that all the Beast Cavalry units can get it, right? Because Eitr is a Beast Cavalry, but I assume that Infantry will be able to get this as well. And if that's the case, this is a game changer for Beast Infantry units. I think this could be absolutely insane on the right units, including some of my favorites like Nyla, right? Both the Nylas would love this skill, and there's a ton of other fast beast units that would love this as well. So I think this is a fantastic skill. Now when it comes to roles for Eitr, I think there's 2 roles she really does, and that's going to be a Gale Force unit and kind of a tank. Now not an Omni tank, but like the kind that kind of like goes in, beats something up, and then can just keep healing, right? Like the kind of unit who could just keep taking fights and keep going. You don't really want to use her as an Omni tank because you're going to have to remove her A skill for distant counter, which is just, don't do that. That's a bad choice. I think she's going to be excellent as a Gale Force unit as well, right? She has the special acceleration, she has no follow-up, she has true damage, so she's going to be able to kill things like with no problem. And she even has damage reduction, so she won't die. So I think she could be an excellent Gale Force initiator unit, and she's going to be really good at that as well. And the best part is that she's a rearmed hero, so you can get merches on her and still hand out that amazing fodder. I think this is a fantastic unit to pull. I'm very excited for her, and I'm also excited to see which game modes she shows up in. I think obviously she could be used in Either Raid's offense as a Gale Force unit, but I can also see her being used in summoner duels because she can just be really difficult to kill. I'm going to be honest, when I originally saw her, I wasn't very excited, but after seeing this new B skill and her preference A skill, this unit looks very, very good. Oh my god, and we're not done yet. Lapis is a free 3 to 4 star character as well. I don't think she has a preference weapon, but I don't care. Lapis is in the game, and I love Lapis. Oh my god, she is getting a rearmed sword for sure. And if that's not enough, we get 2 sparks. Holy crap, this banner is absolutely absurd. I need all these characters 100%. Okay, oh my god, I am so hyped right now. Lapis, Diamant, everybody else, but that's not enough. Faye is going to drop another banner on us. Let's check it out right now. Oh, he looks so good. He looks so good. Free 5-star ALEAR, July 18th. Holy crap. Okay, so we do have male ALEAR, and it seems that male ALEAR does have the exact same kit as female ALEAR, which is not a downside by any means. Female ALEAR is a very good unit with a very good PRF weapon. We're also getting attack speed ideal 4 and repel 4 for free technically. So if for some reason you hate male ALEAR, there's some amazing fodder for you to fodder off as well. Now the obvious difference now is that he does have repel 4 instead of close call 4, and he also has green view 3 instead of speed smoke 4. So the fodder I would say is a little bit worse than female ALEAR, but we're getting this unit for free, so I really don't think you can complain by any means. And male ALEAR is finally in the game, so I'm completely happy. I just don't understand why they didn't do this sooner, right? Like, oh my god, I'm so finally happy Engage is finally in Fae after so many months. And the final thing we have to discuss, because the hype train is not done yet, we also have a new GHB coming up with ZEPHIA as the GHB unit, which I'm also very excited for. The Engage hype train is finally here after so long, and I couldn't be more excited. Okay, let's move on to the final part of the video. Should you pull? And the answer is yes. I'm just gonna say it, it should be yes. You should be pulling on this banner. Why? Because one, we finally got Engage. If you've been waiting for Engage as long as I have, it is super hype, right? But even if you want to look at it in a more subjective way, we do have one of the best banners of the year. We have an arcane beast weapon and a new arcane bow. We have a support with an extremely unique and powerful effect. And we have a new god sword who is different than any other God Sword we've ever gotten in the entire game. So I think the value of this banner is extremely high, and that's not even talking about the amazing fodder, right? We have skills like Special Spiral 4, we have Attack Defense Finish 4, we have the new Beast Sense as well. Like, this banner is extremely stacked. This is one of the most stacked banners of the year, and it's not really surprising they waited right before CYL, of course, so that way they get all of our orbs. Now, if we do want to talk about some cons for not pulling, like I said, Choose Your Legends is less than a month away, so if you are like super hard on the Choose Your Legends hype train, maybe you should save some orbs for that. And the only other two reasons I can think of course, is that we do have a new Mythic banner at the end of this month, and we do have a new seasonal banner in about 2 to 3 weeks, which could be Pirates. Just hear me out, it could be Pirates. I know it's supposed to be Thieves, but it could be Pirates. Now, with all that said, am I going to be pulling? Of course I'm going to be pulling. I'm going to be going hard on this banner. We need to get every single unit on this banner. Hopefully, maybe get a couple copies of some of these units, to be honest. This banner is super hype, and I'm going to be going super hard. But now I'd love to hear from you. What do you think of this banner? Which characters are you going to be pulling? Which characters are you most hyped for? Are you happy that Engage has finally made it into Fae after 6 months? Or maybe you're an Engage hater and you're just angry to see it at all. Either way, make sure to drop a comment down below letting me know. And as always, I'd like to thank all my members for their constant support. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. This has been Oblivion, and the Engage hype train is going at full force.